to hear myself.
Yeah.
But that sounds more like how do they say it? Like with this.
Like
Like with this-
white noise or something?
No, like this. They do this like sounds like opening stuff like very slowly, like this shit. I don't know. I forgot how it's called. Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Forget about it.
You ate your chocolate already?
Uh-huh.
Sugar is starting to come up.
Yes.
When are you back from Italy? Since when?
1 week.
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, it was really great. We were with, it was a complicated operation with my friend. I haven't seen her for like 2 years, and she's in,
Don't forget to stay a bit closer to the microphone.
yeah, and she's in Russia.
Mhm.
So she came to Italy to meet me, and we hung out in Bologna. And Bologna is the best city because it's super studenty. It had the socialist government since like the 90s. So they're like,
You mean like the local government?
yeah, local government of the not the district of Bologna, but like this region of Bologna.
Mhm.
And they've been socialists, so they are like pretty much like this communist spirits, and they have porticos everywhere. So it's like the city of porticos, and in all of those porticos and those like dark orange, reddish walls are written poems and political statements and like just some notes and everything, and it feels like the city is living. So it's really, really cool. And we've been living in like the heart of a student district, so we were hanging out there a lot. It was so good.
Yeah, actually, I'm hearing a lot about Bologna recently.
Bologna is the heart somehow because it's super, super modern, because the students keep it modern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really nice. I really enjoyed it. Not much else to do there. There is a gallery there. There is it's like the music city of Italy, so it has a lot of museums connected to some instruments and whatever. But other than that, not so much. But the Bologna University is the center, I guess, of the city. So yeah, so it's just for a couple of days to give the mood and to live like you're young and cool. Yes.
What did you do to live like you're young? You are young. You can't live
No.
otherwise. Whatever you do is living like you're young because you are doing it as a young person. It can't be otherwise.
That's not true. That's not true, because my mental age, I think, is around 60. So whatever I do, but it fluctuates between 60 and 5. So I either am like a 5-year-old or a 60-year-old, but like, I don't know, I'm pretty boring for a young person, I think, Some people do much more stuff.
Or maybe you haven't found the right people to hang out with.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I found the good company, as they say, I've never hung out in a bad company, but hey, what's youth for? You have to, I don't know, do forbidden stuff and be crazy and party all night.
What's the, let's say, craziest forbidden stuff that you've done, either these days in Bologna or in your life, that you can share? Don't worry, our audience is not that huge, so feel free to say it, whatever it is.
Beautiful. No, that's the problem. That's a good question, actually.
You've done so many, or you haven't done anything?
I haven't done anything, I think. Or now that I've done it, I don't think of it as something bad, I think. Yeah, I think...
So you are used to doing bad things and they don't even impress you anymore.
Maybe, because I sometimes look back and I was afraid to do something, and now it feels like a normal thing. I think to me it was bad. But that sounds really boring. My family, nobody smokes. My father doesn't drink, like zero. And my mom also not so much. And so like a pretty nice family. And once I moved to Vienna, I started smoking.
Okay.
Hardcore. And that was like
chain smoking.
Like I chain smoke, and everybody's like, yeah, smoking. But then once they spend one day with me, like one person who's also a smoker, they're like, whoa,
you really smoke a lot.
You really smoke a lot. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's me. But I think that was a bad thing at the time. I felt like, wow, I'm really bad girl. But now, I
Like,
mean,
it sounds like a typical thing when you move out of your parents' house. You
absolutely.
have to do something that is different.
Absolutely. But it happens somehow unconsciously. It's not that I sat there and like, now I'm gonna do something against my parents.
Yeah, but I think it's inside all of us when we live with our parents. Maybe we don't know what it's gonna be, but we know there's something we're keeping locked down inside us,
Yes.
and it's gonna come out. It's gonna explode
Absolutely.
as soon as we move out.
Absolutely. Did you do something bad once you
Yes,
moved
I
out?
started drinking heavily.
How heavily?
As soon as I left my parents' house, I moved
Really?
out. Yes, I started drinking, but not, I think, not as much as you were smoking, as I
Maybe,
understand.
You never know. How many drinks are we talking?
Every day?
Every day?
Yes.
Every day drinking.
But I was also working in a pub, which
well,
makes
logical.
it hard not to have at least one quick drink a day.
Logical. So you worked as a like bartender?
I worked as a bartender and as a waiter. I've done all that. I've been through that.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
all that process.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Now you don't drink anymore? So
I do drink anymore, but I think it's how you said it. Now doesn't look weird anymore. I just got used to it. And do you still smoke?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's normal.
David, if you're listening to it, I don't.
No, she doesn't.
Oh no, no, I smoke, but I smoke much less than I used to. But I think it's like somehow the mechanism of self-destruction that is like working in us in a way. Like you smoke when you don't really, I don't know, care what's gonna happen to your lungs or stuff like that. It's like the self-destructive mechanism.
Until something happens to your lungs, and
yeah, exactly. And I'm like the worst person to go to the doctors because not because I'm afraid of them, because I don't need them. I have like a boo health. But when something is wrong, it's like really something's like I'm dying wrong. And then only I come to the doctor, and that's really bad. But I think maybe that's my Russian part of my Russian psyche somehow, not caring too much.
Vodka.
Yeah.
Actually, it's weird that you said that your father doesn't have a drink at all.
Never.
Is this common in Russia?
No. No. But he grew up. He's coming from a small village, and his father was heavily drinking. Not like heavily to the alcoholism, but still exaggerating. And he got aggressive when he was drinking. So my father grew up like that. Like a couple of his friends like died because of alcoholism. So he grew up with the idea, never ever I'm gonna smoke ever. So yeah. So and he's keeping that word. He's like 65 or something, and he still hasn't drank.
It's interesting that you don't know your father's exact age.
I stopped around the age 57.
Yes, I think we all stopped there.
What is your parents?
They're around the same age.
Yeah.
My mom, she has her birthday next month, and I'm going back home for in that period, and I tell her, well, we'll go out and do something. You're turning 55. And she said, I'm turning 57.
And you're like,
when did you turn 55? Where was I?
You didn't inform me, Mom.
Yes, this fucking pandemic made me lose count of your age. But it's unforgivable that we don't know their age.
Well, I mean, that's good because I don't know, somehow, what does age matter in the end? Does that show that we love them more?
No, maybe.
Maybe.
But it's interesting that most of people have at least the same amount of parents as they are kids. But parents never forget their kid's birthday, but we do forget our parents' birthday.
Oh, my dad, I think he remembers about my birthday only because my mom informs him.
Oh, yeah?
I think he's so bad with numbers. I think that's really...
How many kids are you?
2.
2 kids?
2 kids.
That's not hard to forget. Just
That's
2 kids.
Yeah. I mean, but dad is like really bad with all the numbers, like all the dates and everything. So I think that really very much depends on the person. But in the end, like as you say, the general line is that we forget and they don't. I mean, like, let's say our mothers pushed us out of their vaginas. I think they remember that day.
Yes. So I think they exactly, they remember the pain.
I think they're scarred for life.
That's why. That's pretty much why. So they were hurt so much. Yeah. I will never forget that day. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
But that's also, as they all say, they also felt this perfect happiness once it happened and everything. I don't know. motherhood is beyond my understanding. It's pretty crazy. How many siblings do you have?
Two. I have two.
So like 3 overall.
Yes, we are three kids, and funny thing is that I still haven't forgot any birthday in our family.
Tell me.
So I do. My small sister's birthday is on 5th of May.
Mm-hmm.
No, it isn't. It's on the 15th of May. Sorry.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the oldest one is in 11 April.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother's birthday in 12th March, and my father's birthday is in 21st of November.
Okay.
And I also remember the pets' birthdays.
Pets'
and that's how
birthday?
far it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the friends you don't?
No.
No.
Friends, I quit since in high school to remember friends' birthday.
Your girlfriend?
Yes, of course, because we are in the same day.
Easy.
It's easy to remember. Yes.
Peasy.
And also the dog's birthday is in the same day, so I got 3 people in one shot: myself,
No.
dog, and girlfriend.
Wow, that's cool. When is
It's the second, but in different months, and it's easier to remember months.
so not exactly on the same day?
No, not exactly on the same day.
Okay,
but
wow, I thought that would be crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
3 birthdays in a day.
Wow. My
Big
friend
party.
has like the birthdays of her father, her like boyfriend at the time, and somebody else, like exactly one after the other.
Wow.
So like I don't know, 19th, 20th, 21st, and she like always freaks out at that
sounds
time.
expensive.
Yeah, that is expensive. And also a lot of thoughts. Like, I mean, if you have one good present for your father, then like all the 2 others go into the pooper, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah. So pretty
It's
crazy.
fucked up. Since when you moved to Vienna? Did you mention earlier?
4 years ago, I think. Gonna be in April.
For university, like the rest of us?
Yes. But I funnily enough moved for the Wirtschaftsuniversität,
Mm-hmm.
for the WU.
You move for Richard at first, or you're doing it now?
No, I moved for it at first because as all Russians, I have a trauma that if you don't work somewhere where there's obviously gonna be money, then you're gonna be living under the bridge.
That's very interesting, because we have the same mentality back in my hometown and in my home country, which was part of the Soviet Union, and now I
Yes.
understand where we got it from.
Yes, it's all there. So it's a big step to decide to do something with
Yes.
culture, with art, with film. So
You're either going to be a
congratulations.
lawyer. Thank you. You're either going to be a lawyer, doctor, or an economist.
Yeah, economist. Absolutely, 3 choices. And I wanted always to do the law, but
How come?
because
Like justice, or you like to defend people?
I like to defend the guilty ones, because
The guilty ones?
yeah, because I
That's
just
a big challenge.
yeah, I like to look in the look on the different sides of the morals, and like my morals is very fluid, so
Well, there aren't many morals in law. It's just law. You have to check what law can suit you better.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like if under some weird circumstances I would have become like an advocate, then it would have been like, I don't know, dealing with people who are actually in false, and you know that they committed a crime. And then if your morals are steady, then you can't defend them, because you're going to be making a impossible deal with yourself. And if your morals are fluid, then you can say, well, yeah, he killed somebody, but
He deserved it.
He was sad at that point. I get it.
Well, it happens all the time that lawyers do this thing that they call they make the guilty look like crazy or nuts, and they get a psychiatrist's signature or something that he was operating under certain circumstances at the moment, which is a bit weird because it doesn't make him, because if he did that, he still must be punished somehow.
Absolutely.
All right, the punishment might change.
Yes.
But the fact that he killed someone doesn't change, no matter the circumstances.
Yes. I mean, they usually, hence I'm not a lawyer, but they usually put them in the correction facility, or psychiatric facility, to like kind of rework their mind.
But if they are really all right, it will take them like 6 months to prove that they are not actual. So that as a rehab let's say they test them in like 6 months to see the progress,
Yeah.
and which are they are perfectly fine in their
Yeah.
head, they can easily prove that they are fine, they walk out.
But the people who killed with the idea to kill, not the ones that did it like randomly, it just happened.
Yeah.
The ones who did it on purpose, I don't think they're very mentally stable. I mean, that's a hot take. I don't know.
Apart apart paid killers.
No. Like the murderers, people who commit crime, they probably like the moral compass is different, and that means they are going away from normality. And that means there is something in their wires in their head that is going loose, which is bringing them away from normality, if we consider that normality actually exists. So yeah, so I didn't become a lawyer, also because this is a dream, like the devil's advocate, like it's not gonna happen. Even if you study as a lawyer, you're probably gonna work in some firm rearranging the documents.
Yes, exactly.
So I went to business, because my mother is a marketer, and I thought I'm gonna work somewhere in this direction, like HR, marketing, and everything. And I started studying in Russia, and then I transferred to the VU, and they got me the invitation, and this is how I got my visa, and I came here. But then it was unbearable, and I've always wanted to do art, so I told my parents, wait 3 years, I'm gonna prove you that art has some potential there. Yes. So
what are you doing now?
Now I study art history. And I am, as you well know, I am the co-founder of the Bohemian magazine.
Tell me about it. How did it start? You mentioned it earlier when we met last time, but I would like a more elaborate explanation.
Of course. So we started at that with my boyfriend, David. And because it was somehow like going together, because we are both very interested in culture and in art, and very much burning for it to survive. And it was at the time of Corona, when people would rather go to the Christkindlmarkt at the Karlsplatz and drink some Glühwein instead of going to a concert or visiting a museum and everything like that. So it felt like somehow, if it's gonna go like that longer with the COVID, then the culture is gonna die.
Yeah.
And especially among the young people. And David at the time was working at the newspaper Die Presse. He was writing for it, the classical music critiques. And he was always telling how this is a great opportunity and everything, but it is very dry, like the style, how you have to write, because it's a special audience that is reading. He did
have restrictions?
Yes, he did have like the size restrictions, style restrictions. And if you know David, he's like very free with what he says.
Very expressive, yeah.
Very expressive. And so, I mean, it was nice and he really appreciated it, but he was longing for something else. And at some point in the evening, we were hanging out, and I was just like, let's start a magazine about culture. And he was like, yeah. Yes. And usually I like those ideas usually pop up in my head, and I don't expect people to support me. So I was surprised when he said, yeah. I was, okay, let's do it. And that's how it started.
Who built the website? So.
We did. It's not a WordPress website, so it was easier for us, but we still built it ourselves for like long time. We were trying to figure out how it works.
No, that's all right. I think you can hear well. And how is it? You just celebrated 2 years, right?
2 years.
2 years. And how has it been going? How's the audience? How are actually I'm very interested. How are the views, and what's an average, maybe not in numbers, but how happy are you with your expectations? So how is it meeting your expectations? You can be honest.
No, I mean, it's both good and bad in many ways. So the numbers are good for us, but they are not as satisfying as the, for example, Instagram activity. So, like our Instagram is very good from the activity. So about, I don't know, like 80% of the audience that follows us, they also react to us. So it's not like, I don't know, 10,000 people follow us and only like 20 like us. So we have a very good activity on Instagram, but when it comes to reading the article, it's a bit less satisfying, because there is also, like, in the statistics on the website, you can see how long did people spend on the page.
What's the average?
I mean, for the more or less long article, the average would be 1-2 minutes, and it's not possible to read the longer article for 2 minutes. So, like, 1 minute is the average, I would say. It's not very mathematical. I can check it out for you later, but as far as I remember, so people drop the thing in the middle of reading. It either means that the article wasn't interesting enough, like the topic wasn't close to the reader's heart, or it might also mean, if it's like the tendency overall, it might also mean that people just don't have capacity for that anymore, to read long stuff. They're maybe not interested in this. So we're always trying to, like, adapt to it and find the course of direction which would be interesting for our readers, while still not dropping the idea of good journalism as good as we can, of course.
Well, what is the goal? Because you said you started as a platform where you and other people wanted to express yourself in a way that you wouldn't have restrictions like big media companies might oppose. So, has the goal shifted a little from being able to express yourself independently 100% to being read more?
It was actually the goals were very Napoleon-like, because
What does it mean?
They were grandiose. To reform the journalism,
Right.
to change the art scene.
That goal can still stay, because 2 years are nothing to build a big media outlet, so you can still have that goal, but
absolutely. But so the goals were actually, like, give the platform and don't let the culture die among our peers, and keep them interested even in the stuff they might not be interested in. So, like, the people who love theater might want to be reading about literature or about music, and so, like, try to build the community that will be interested overall in culture, and would be able to understand the codes that we understand, the authors. When you write about film, you know about film more than maybe, I don't know, about classical music, or probably you do, but
no, I
anyways.
don't.
So, like, you know it more professionally, you study it, you do it, you are inside the industry. So and the people who know more about classical music would be interested to see, like, these insights from you about film. So that's that was the goal. And then actually it was a bit reversed. So the goal was, like, very, like, abstract and grandiose, like, reform the culture. But then with practice, we got humbled a bit. And the goal became actually to make it a platform for young people. So it became like the first and most important thing, because we realized that is what making us different from the others. And as a side effect, hopefully we can reform the culture. Yes. Sorry, it was a long answer.
No, makes perfect sense. So you would love people to jump from one category to another, even if it's not their favorite category.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's not. I'm not, because it's definitely working because I bet that from day one it changed a lot, and now I see that many people are writing to it, and I see that Instagram is doing pretty well. So you can't say there's no development in there. There's certainly nice developments in there, and you should be proud of it. But what what do you think is holding it back from reaching your goal faster? What would you change or extend or shrink, or I don't know?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a question for. That's a thinker. I mean, obvious thing is that we're lacking the funding, and that is our goal for this year, to get proper funding, or at least a couple of good grants
To cover some costs.
to cover some costs. And moreover, I mean, we really appreciate that all our authors are enthusiastically writing just because they want to, but we also realize that it can't be going on like that forever. So the goal is actually to bring Bohema, if we want to, and if the authors want to bring it to actually bringing the income to the authors. Not so much, but at least some gesture of appreciation, motivation, and everything. And for us, for the advertisement and for developing a better website, it all costs money.
Yeah.
So that would be the thing. And philosophically speaking, I'm gonna hide in the bushes because I don't know what can we shrink or develop. Not yet. Once the finances are done, once we're steadily on the 2 feet, then we can do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess. So, but thank you to all the authors who write for nothing. That's really great. Not for nothing, for
something.
For something, for experience, for connections. We also like to think that Bohema is like a starting pool for a lot of people to shoot in the industry, because through Bohema, David got his connections with amazing one and only concert house, and through Bohema, Alisa Paiska, our art editor, she got to know like the people from the one festival that like the analog photography festival. And so it's like being there in the culture, knowing people, having the magazine behind you to say, hi, I'm from is giving like a starting pool for a lot of people, and everybody can use Bohema for that. So that's what the authors also might be getting if they have this ambition. So I guess.
What would change? Let's say you get the grants. What would change in the platform? What would you
for
add?
The viewers, you mean?
For the viewers, yeah, for the audience,
viewers,
not for internal.
Well,
would you add a printed version?
That's a hope. Here's hoping.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. Not like every month, maybe. So big
maybe
job.
3 monthly or something.
Yeah. That would be great, because we also know a lot of beautiful designers that can help us with that. So that would be the idea. Maybe Instagram would change. Maybe they would notice us much more on the streets with posters and ads, and website might change, but it's all would come very slowly with a try and error kind of path. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Would be internationalizing it a bit more a goal?
Making it trilingual, you mean?
Let's say, for example, as I said, I would have never found out about Bohema if I wasn't studying what I'm studying. So because I saw it in the Pinwand. And there are many people like me who are not there yet with English, with German skills, let's say, but they could be still interesting on what goes on around Vienna in the arts. But we have no access to that because it's in German. We can find out.
Yes, I totally get you. It's the same for me. German is not my best language. Yeah, that's a good thing. We are kind of bilingual, and we allow our authors, if it's more comfortable for them, to write in English. We had precedents of the same article being translated into English, um, but not. It's not occurring as a normal practice for us, which is a problem. So that's a good point. Once we have more money, maybe we can make it more available for people. But yeah, it's a hard question because a lot of our authors are good writers and they have the mastery of the language in German. And even if they would be like not forced but obliged to write in English, it would lose some of its charm. So maybe we would just hire a person who would translate it. So that would be the idea. But it really is sad that a lot of things are not open for non-German speakers. And in the future, it's also, we have like Vienna has also a big Turkish community, Arabic community. So maybe at some point we would also, I mean, it's my idea. It's not that we discussed it, but I would really love some text to be translated also in Arabic or in Turkish, because that is also a big part of the city.
Okay, so you want to reach out to more people to go to them instead of waiting for those people to come to you.
Because it's also I bet you've also felt it when you came to Vienna. It's not really welcoming for the students and people from other countries.
Let's say that I wasn't disappointed in a sense because I've been an immigrant before and I moved to other countries before. So plus I moved here when I wasn't that young anymore. And my expectations were a bit low in that sense, in the sense that I did expect a lot of things that really happened. I wasn't shocked or surprised.
Yeah.
So, but maybe for other people, it's like that. Maybe they don't feel very welcomed.
If I can ask, where did you migrate before?
Chicago. USA, yes.
Okay.
Sweet home Chicago.
Sweet home Chicago. Nice.
There was.
It was worse there.
If it was worse, no, it was different. So not worse, not better, but in a different. It was different. So it had things that were different from here, and I do believe now that it all depends also from the age and the situation you go to a place, the feeling that the place gives to you, or how welcome it might be, that place to you. So
yeah.
But I understand that maybe a lot of people who move here are not as welcome as they would like to be, and I understand that also the language would be a barrier, especially for international students, not only from students coming from German-speaking country. This is my bell ringing.
Yeah.
I'll just get it quick. Let's switch camps. Let's move to another camp. You can, as I said, you can say whatever you like to say, or you can't say whatever you don't like to say. You don't have sense. What the fuck is going on with the war? Because I read literally zero news, and when I ask you, I really ask you because I don't know what's going on. I quit reading news the second week of the war when everyone started to go on TV every hour and saying stuff. So it got boring in the sense that they abused the fame in a sense of the war and wanted to be famous for themselves. So everyone wanted to go on air everywhere. So I thought, well, this is not information anymore. This is marketing. I'm not gonna follow.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm not offering any well-adjusted opinion because it's just my opinion. I'm not a political science person.
No, of course.
And it's very personal. I am honestly also trying to only read the news. I don't follow, for example, the Telegram channels, which are very widespread now. and used to in the beginning of the war, with all the information from like Ukraine, what's going on, like Ukrainian Telegram chats, and then it became too much for my mental health. I mean, yeah, but hello to my mental health. People are dying, but still, you gotta look out for yourself. And I just started reading the news. So, like the biggest stuff that is more or less the biggest chance of it not being fake news. So the trusted newspapers. Wow, that's a big.
So you think that the
big
biggest medias are the most trusted one?
No, not the biggest ones, but the ones that I know I can trust on the fact checking. Of course, you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. Like my favorite one is Medusa, and it's
what country does it belong to?
It belongs to Russia, but this is an oppositionist opposition newspaper.
I'll just ask you to hold the chair.
Yes.
From rolling.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, so it's the opposition magazine. It's digital, and they are based in Riga because they used to be located in St. Petersburg, I think, long ago. And then they were banned for being obviously the opposition magazine. And then they moved to Riga, and they publish in English and in Russian. Now Russia can't get them because it's basically the other country. But now we know for Russia, the other country doesn't mean that you can't get inside it and destroy it. Yeah, whatever. So I read Medusa. It's also been criticized for having the Russian mentality and Russian imperialistic mentality, but I still trust the journalists there. They do the fact checking. So, and they never actually stop from saying that update, we were wrong or something like that. So they always keep themselves updated. So I trust them. And I don't know what's going on. It's a big mess that my country has created and that we have created. And
what do you mean that we? Who do you mean we?
We Russians, because I kind of totally agree with the rhetoric of Ukrainian side that every Russian is responsible. It's hard to take, but it is like that.
You think so?
I think so, because not responsible in a way. I don't go there and I don't shoot people, of course, and I don't know anyone who goes there and shoots people. But my family, who is opposition to Putin, me, who is in opposition to Putin, we haven't done anything to actually change this. Like he's been a pain in our asses since, I don't know, the 2008, and everybody knew this, and still people only created like those demos, and that's basically it. And it was never going beyond like a couple of thousand people going out on the street, and nothing has happened. And I personally felt enraged by what was going on, especially with the annexion of Crimea. It was pretty crazy, but I didn't do anything. I was just like sitting in my kitchen talking shit about Putin and not doing anything.
What could you have done?
Knowing me, I could have organized something, organized the youth movement. It's just me, and not like all the other Russians. But this could have been done, or more active participation in the demos, more active spreading the information. For example, in my school, I was kind of an outsider for being interested in politics, and I felt I was proud of myself for being outsider in that, and I never actually thought that their misinformed state of my peers, the disinformed state of my peers, is just so wrong, and I could have done so much more. And then maybe like couple more people were more active in political scene, and I don't know.
Putin doesn't really look like a guy who would give a fuck if people are protesting. He would still do his thing. So
Yes.
why are you being hard on yourself in this sense? Do you think that something would have changed if you were there and protesting, organizing?
I mean, my conscience would have been more clean.
'Cause when is the last time that the protest worked?
In
Not
Russia,
only in Russia, all over the world.
Iran.
Okay, you have an example.
Yeah.
This, you mean this last one?
Yeah, the female protests.
What did it change?
Nothing so far, not so much.
But it got attention, you mean?
It got attention. It spread awareness among the countries like Austria or Russia or I don't know, Germany, France, who don't give a shit about Middle East. Yeah. It's like it's not us. It's not happening. So,
but what shit could they give anyway? Because I see many countries, Austria included, they do give refuge to refugees from those countries. Like, what could they do?
Austria closed the borders for the countries like Syria, Iran.
Recently, after getting a lot of them.
No, they never really opened it so far. I know they opened a lot for Ukrainians, and that was good. But I know after the war is over, we can discuss that it's also problematic that they have given so much more possibilities to the white Ukrainians who just look like, so like even in the speeches they look like Austrians, you know. In the speeches they are all Christians like us and everything. It was in official statements of the government, like what the actual fucking fuck. And then the system, they said the system wouldn't work with the amount of refugees that would come from Syria or Iran or anything. The governmental structures are not prepared for that. And in the end, for Ukraine, it worked out. So that is a good thing.
But you think it worked out because, well, we can't not see that a lot of people who are coming from Ukraine are coming with real money here. So do you think, well, at least I notice it because I've worked a lot in hospitality as well. So I see a lot of people coming from Ukraine who do have, let's say they have a budget to afford pretty luxury apartments in Vienna, and you can't not see the license plates of fancy car. You have seen, everyone has seen, and everyone can say, what is this guy talking about? But everyone has seen it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So do you think it really worked for Ukrainians in a sense that they got a safe house here in Vienna or Austria, or it's just for the rich Ukrainians?
Stayed for longer. I think the rich Ukrainians, they stayed for the longer time, but a lot of people were coming here with a lower income and with nothing. I mean, this is just an example. Like at the beginning, my VG, we were hosting a family, and they came from Mykolaiv. After Mykolaiv is like completely destroyed, like to nothing, zero is left there. And it was a family of a mother, a daughter, and their cousin. And they were low in income. They only brought one bag. They couldn't, like, they were told bring one bag, and they had no clothes and for the changing seasons. And in the end, it turned out that a lot of people took more luggage than they were said. And the mother of the family, she was like, if they told us that we could pack a bit more, we could have packed a bit more. And they didn't stay in Vienna for a long time because there were complications with the system here, how to get the registration and everything. But they just decided to go somewhere else. But a lot of people came like them who have nothing, like one bag. And and it's pretty crazy. So
it did work out
for them.
For them,
yeah, it did work out for them. I think it's the open arms that count. And if they're gonna stay or not, it's then their decision. Maybe they just simply don't like it. Maybe like in the case of that family that we hosted, they have friends who can offer them job in some other country, so that's where they traveled. But like to open the arms, as a city, as a country. That is important, I think. Austria did that. That's great.
Yeah, but since they didn't do it for Iran, let's say, you think that Austria should do this thing for every country who's at war in the world? Because
That's
it's a lot of responsibility to put. So why Austria? It's if you see countries within the world, each of them is like a separate business who doesn't owe anything to another country, or maybe just to a few countries who maybe with a special relation. But
yeah.
so why should Austria? So Austria can pick whoever they want to let in. They can, and we can't say
Yes.
anything because that's what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a very philosophical question of should the borders be open? Should they not?
You think they should be open to
Um,
everyone?
I think so. I mean, again, personally,
Mhm.
and I probably don't really appreciate the consequences that would come with that, but I think philosophically that should be open because um, because a lot of countries like Austria and Germany and France and everything, they enrich themselves on the shoulders of the other countries, like these countries, so they owe them, you know. And it's not only about the who enriched who, but like to me it's also just I'm answering it as a philosophical question, like in between the on the personal level of relationships, like you and me, we are separate people, we live separate life, and we have our own desires and our own borders and everything. But should we be as an island in the ocean, or as Hemingway said, no man is an island. No man is an island. So I think that I personally should help anyone who I see who is asking for help. And I don't have to, but if I have the capacity, if I have the money, if I have the time, if I no, I'm gonna help with whatever I can. And I think that's on the personal level. That's why I'm thinking for the countries it should be that. Of course, it's more complicated than between just individuals, but philosophically speaking, I would say yes. You don't think so?
As you said, it's a very arguable question, but I think principally it shouldn't be like immediately open to everyone. So there should be some filters, let's say. And this goes to the theory that I said that every country is like a different business. They can do their deals with the other countries, not just to keep the door open without any type of control. And even if I don't like it or not, who they pick, if they choose white or black people or different races, it's even if it's right or wrong, it's still their right to do so. This is what I think.
Absolutely.
So maybe we don't like it, but they can do it and they are allowed to do it. We can't blame Austrians why they only picked white people to let them in and give them a permanent resident permit right away, and why suddenly they switched. So they added another language to the public transportation, which no one would have ever thought of because we didn't even heard a different language. We didn't even hear English.
Yep.
So we suddenly hear Ukrainian.
Yeah.
And it's all right. It's good to help those people because they weren't prepared to come to Austria in a sense. Because maybe we who chose to come here, we prepared ourselves in a sense. All right, if I'm going there, I need at least to learn German or something else. But they came from war, so there wasn't any time to prepare themselves for the language. Can we blame them? No. Are they guilty? No. If we like it or not, maybe we don't like it. That this was very customized in a sense, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, did you see this war coming? I mean, not you as a person, in Russia in general. Was this expected?
No. There is this political scientist, pop political scientist now. She's very famous in Russia, Schulman. And she said, in the end, all of the psychos on the street turned out to be wrong, turned out to be right. All those psychos who said, "Oh, the war is coming," everybody was like, "Blah, what you're talking about? No, it's not coming." They turned out to be right. and it's crazy.
Because I've known people from inside Ukraine and from the countries that have, from the places that have been under attack, let's say, and they said that this has been going on for some time, at least in their region. So maybe not at this scale, but conflicts have been there. Armed troops have been always there.
Yeah.
So there were people who have seen this coming. Actually, not just seen this coming, but have felt this for a long time now.
Of course.
And it's said that maybe now we know as its official start thanks to media coverage, and that's where many people start to be skeptical because suddenly it gets a lot of media coverage all over the world. Why, as you mentioned, there have been wars and also in the Middle East, but no one covers them as much as the Ukrainian war. Why is it so? It's because it's in the middle of Europe. And why did they suddenly started to cover it?
The media. Yeah, I think
as a personal opinion, not what they might be thinking.
Yeah, as a personal opinion, I think it's just because it's so close to the European countries. It's like one step from Poland, one step from Austria, 2 steps from Germany. Everybody's afraid, and it's also because everybody knew that Putin is crazy. Everybody underestimated him. Not everybody. I mean, some did, I guess, give him enough credit, but a lot of people underestimated him. They thought of him as more sane person, but in the end, he's insane. And this is the this unpredictability and this power that he possesses is the craziest thing. That's why I think everybody's in shock, and that's why everybody's covering that, because it's so real what is going to happen. And with all the Russian power, with all the like Russian gas and oil, all the investments, all the oligarchs, all the army and everything, it seems much more of a threat than a smaller country like Iran or Syria, which is not even considered, I think, in the eyes of European governments as the country, more like as a playground. But this is really personal. I think it's just because it's close.
What did it change in Russia since the war started?
Nothing.
But didn't things get hard for Russians in international relations?
Yes, but nothing drastically has changed. I mean, I don't live there. I haven't come to Russia since like 3 years.
You can't go there now? Or?
I can go, but I might not come back.
Really?
Yeah, they might close the borders every moment. And my family is not there. My father is, but he came to visit us here, so it's good. And I don't have to go there anymore. Nothing is connecting me with it.
How is it with those people or with the lifestyle? Because a lot of European banks, they closed accounts for Russian people, which I find a bit arguable and drastic, but I think it was this white European thing to do at first. So, all right, let's all fight Russia and the Russians, the individual Russians, for no reason, just because Putin had started a war. So now we leave every Russian out of European Union. How does this affect people who live in Russia? Do people in Russia rely a lot on money that comes from abroad from immigrants?
No. In Russia, I might lie, but I think 82% of population do not have traveling passport.
No?
No. They never have left Russia, ever. More, I think, around this number.
Why
it's a big
is it
number.
So?
Because nobody has money. It's a extreme level of poverty. Extreme. And also the narrow-mindedness. So people don't want to. People think, what haven't I seen there in this Norway? I don't know, what haven't I seen in that Austria? And they just stay, and the majority just can't afford it.
I would never think that. Because the impression, the public opinion that we have for Russian is oligarchs and they have money. Russians have money. That's
Yeah.
what we think. That's what everybody thinks.
Yeah. The tourists you see, even not the oligarchs, but just the one walking around, is, I don't know, 10% of population at best, and the oligarchs are one. So the country is poor. The country is in ruins, especially the regions that are not close to the center. Rural sides. What was the statistic? 1/3 of population of Russia doesn't even have a warm toilet.
A warm toilet.
A warm toilet. They have toilet outside, a hole in the earth where they go to.
And to have that in Russia with that winter, literally your ass freezes.
Yeah, completely. My father lives in a village, I told you, and I once was there in the winter, and telling you, my ass froze off.
Wow.
It's pretty creepy, yeah. It's also creepy because if you want to go in the night, you go, and it's in his house. It used to be in like the I don't know how to say it in English or in German, like this place where the hens are staying, the hens and the roosters. So like in Russian it's kuryatnik. It's like this small house where they're hanging out.
Okay.
And just went there. It was really smelly and not good. But now they have a warm toilet. But
and this is because I know also in my country they have this still in some villages, but it's not that common anymore. Is this very common in Russia?
I also thought it's not common, but I mean, that was the statistics that said. I mean, obviously the statistics might lie, but it was shocking to hear that. So like Russia is pretty much deprived of any chance to revolt. That might sound very bad, but that is why I'm trying to keep my peace with why people are not revolting and why some people still go to war. I'm trying to like not lose my sanity to find arguments for them. And when I think that the majority of people don't have enough money to sustain life, they have a lot of children, and like these men who go to war, they probably have, I don't know, 1,000 loans and no money and 3 children and a wife who doesn't work because toxic masculinity, hey. And then they go to war because they hope that, you know, I'm just gonna sit around, not gonna shoot anybody, come back, get my money. And this money that they give to the Russians who went to war is good enough to sustain them for life.
So it's basically the system that make people poor enough so they will never revolt, and the only time we will really pay them is when they will fight for us on our side.
Yes, and it's also the crazy level of propaganda, but I think the propaganda is actually so dull. I mean, they are good, they're working well, but it's using such dull methods, honestly.
I wanted to ask about that because I hear a lot that Russian propaganda is all another level. So they use it a lot.
Yeah, they use it a lot.
KGB still pretty active, or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean...
Does it have the same name?
No. Yeah. KGB, yeah. KGB, yes.
They interfere with the news? Do they interfere with the news and the propaganda?
Nobody sees them. They're everywhere. It's pretty paranoid, actually. But like when I was studying at the university, before I came to Vienna, it was the economics university. Rumors has it in every group, like there are fixed groups in Russian university, so like 30 people who are always studying together through all the subjects, and in every group there are at least 1 or 2 guys who are from the KGB university, like from the KGB Academy, FSB, the not KGB exactly, but like Federal Bureau of Investigation, say FBI of Russia. Rumor has it, because they have to keep an eye on, because the university where I was studying is kind of also a bit opposition
Universities are always the revolting places where everything starts,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
governments are thrown.
Exactly. Exactly. They keep an eye on everybody. The police is working really well. When I was going to the demos when I was a child, my mom was very worried for me because every time you go to the demo, they film you.
Mm-hmm.
So your face is filmed, great. And then they just like put all of your misdeeds in like this small mappe in police department. And once it like overflows, or once you do something crazy, they like remember you everything. Like, moreover, Russia is controlled by Paket Yarovoy, is like the number of laws that control the collecting of information. All the information, all your WhatsApp chats, all your Google history, all your calls, your messages, everything is stored.
But they use it right away. For example, let's say a Russian person is planning something at the moment and is Googling about it or something. Do they intervene right away, or they just collect it for the judgment day?
Yeah, collect it for the judgment day. So far, I know. Because that's what happens to a lot. Once you do something very noticeable.
And they can use it later?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
They can. I mean, there are crazy stories. I mean, if you listen to my friend with whom I was in Bologna, she's studying in St. Petersburg, which is the revolting city of Russia. And the stories that happen there, whoa, man. Like, people, like the students who were revolting somewhere in Moscow, one of them, like, this was a big story, like one of them got captured by the police and then fucked in the ass by the like this metal stick on which you put like
the
weights
at the
for
gym.
the gym. So like this metal stick, he was fucked in the ass by the policeman. And it's a fucking true story because it's like a friend of hers.
What was the reason?
Because he was very active at the demo.
And the police did that to him?
Yes. Police does a lot of stuff. It's a crazy thing. But why I was talking about Iran when I said that something worked out, I say that Russia does not revolt because this is a mentality of a slave. We have never had a free government. We went from monarchy to totalitarian state. Never had anyone asked about our opinions, and this is how we are raised. Do not show off. Do not raise too much questions.
People are born and die in that system.
Exactly. And this system is just like going. And then from Soviet Union, it went to Putin, Russia. Nobody asked our opinion, so we live like slaves with the mentality of a slave. Do not ask. Do not get problems. But that's why I'm saying that Iran is so amazing. Those women, they revolted against the centuries of tradition, the thing that they were raised in, the most important thing, their religion, their beliefs, their everything. They like take those hijabs off, and this is a crazy thing. So they are revolting against their own mind, their own mindset, and that's what's cool, and that's what's amazing, and that's what Russia doesn't do. Russians don't do.
To turn things upside down completely.
They don't, exactly. They don't risk it, and they don't rethink it. They have no critical thinking, and somehow I also understand. Like, I am in complete safety since I'm here. I don't come back. I don't go back to Russia or anything. But I am still not very active on the political scene because it's still this mentality of like, oh, what can I change? What would that change? So yeah.
Well, you're kind of right, because even if the change would come, it would be much, much later, and you would be probably old by then, and you wouldn't even enjoy it, because it's not that you start revolting today. In 6 months things will change. As you said, it's a matter of mentality. It's like the story with Moses, that he took the Jewish people for 4 years around the desert. And as according to him, the only reason why he did that, to bring around people for 40 years in the desert before he would settle in the now Israeli state, was because he was waiting for the old generation to die and to start a new country with only new people and new mentality. So even if Putin goes, someone else like Putin will come on board, and as
Absolutely.
long as the mentality doesn't change, things will remain the same. As you said, they've been staying the same for hundreds of years,
Mm-hmm.
not just recently, not just with Putin. I mean, it's this Lukashenko in Belarus. He's been there for 30 years,
Yeah.
and that's literal people my age were
Mm-hmm.
born under Lukashenko and
Yeah.
have only known Lukashenko as their leader their whole
Yes.
life.
Yes.
And you can't blame people who leave. And now to come back to what you started saying, that you kind of feel bad that you didn't protest more, something that's, and why I don't find fair that all European countries started to blame every Russian and started to sabotage their visas, your visas, blaming you for what's going on in the war. That's your protest. You left the country. You can't do anything about it. If you're there, if you're working for the government, then they maybe have the right to block your visa because you're kind of an accomplice.
Mm-hmm.
But you left. You can't fight Putin. No one. I mean, maybe there are people who can fight him, but not the average person.
Yeah, I think what they're hoping to achieve is the unrest that would be directed to Putin. So, like that, people would see that, oh, they're blocking my visa. Is that because of him? That's because of him.
So to turn to
To
him,
turn to
to
him.
turn against him, I understand, but still, people gonna fight MA35. They're not gonna go back and fight Putin because
Yes.
even more people will want to stay outside the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they blame Putin,
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that people would say, "Oh, that motherfucker, I'm going back to fight him." No, they say, "Oh, that motherfucker, I'm gonna try to stay away from him as far as I can."
Mm-hmm.
So if Austria is not giving me the resident permit, I'm just gonna try to go to another country that is not
Mm-hmm.
Russia.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't go back to Russia blaming Putin, pointing the finger to him that you
Yeah.
motherfucker
Yeah.
did this to me. Because then I'm completely fucked if I go back there and if I
Yeah.
leave the country and I have no visa to return to
Yeah.
another country.
Yeah. But the real revolt should come from within. So if you really wanna change something, I guess it's better to stay in the country and change something there, because that's the most important. It's like every one of us who moved away from Russia, in a way, is like Pontius Pilate, like washing their hands off. Like, it's not my deal anymore, you know. And that's what you kind of feel because you don't live in that reality anymore. But it's all false. So it's yeah. I mean, yeah, I totally get you, and I also try not to blame myself too much, and I think I'm very good at not blaming myself. uh, I am pretty careless in that regard, but I still think it's responsibility of every person, should be. But I only achieve that mentality because I'm here, you know. Because I think, yeah, that's right, I'm to blame, and we're to blame, and we can change something. That's what I think sitting here. Once I come back to Russia and try one door, another door, to open them, and try to, you know, scream on the top of my lungs, and the doors are going to be closed, then maybe I'm going to, you know, lose hope again.
Yeah.
How many did.
It's very, very sad and also interesting because Russia has produced so much culture for the world. I mean, the most important, the basics of literature are Russian. Like every great writer that we now love, most probably thanks to a language that we can understand. I mean, we, the rest of the world, not the Russians, they all have been influenced by Russian writers.
Yeah.
And the classical music, which has produced so many.
Yeah.
And what else? Like the gas.
The gas, yes. Yes, our warm apartment.
It's sad to see like this separation from the rest of the world, as suddenly everyone is cut off and no one is getting things from Russia anymore because of a stupid war.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there wouldn't have, I don't think there would be any modern literature without Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, and all those guys
Yeah.
and Gogol, which I love.
But the thing is, you have to rethink it. We have to rethink it because that's exactly the imperial thinking that brought us to the point, brought Russia to the point that they think they are entitled to the parts of Ukraine and everything. Gogol was Ukrainian, Bulgakov was Ukrainian, Tolstoy, I think, was Russian, but like, what is Russian again? He had Kazakhs, I think, in his heritage. Like a lot of them were Ukrainians or Belarusians.
Do you mean that this is kind of part of the thesis why they think that Ukraine belongs to?
Because it's like I also noticed that myself. It's like when I hang out with, like, for example, Ukrainian or Belarusian or Georgian friends with whom we talk in Russian, and I address them and I say, like this Russian company of mine. They're not Russian. It's like this feeling that since they speak Russian language, since they can, it's all us, it's all Russia, it's all me, it's all mine. You know, like this feeling that was also fed by Soviet Union and everything. It's just no separation between countries. And we're like brothers. We're like one and the same. We have the same history. We don't. We have two different languages. We have two different cultures. We have everything different. I mean, of course, like Ukraine and Russia are closer in mentalities and in the language as, I don't know, Brazil and Russia, but still.
Well, still, what does it matter, the origin? There are now different countries. That's what matters. So why are you trying to get something that presumably, in your opinion, belonged to you 100 years ago? So it's different now. What does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a big argument in Russian rhetorics. I remember when the annexion of Crimea happened, I presented like a referat on my history lesson, and I addressed it as the annexation of Crimea. And my history teacher, who was like easily 90 years old, she was like, "No, that's not. We're taking back what's ours. It was gifted. It was gifted to them, and it's ours." Or like Alaska, people are talking about like getting back
chill,
Alaska.
Dude, you're gonna die next week. You're 90-year old. What you gonna enjoy?
Exactly. I don't know, but this mentality is just like that. It belonged to us. It was just like taken away. I mean, well then, let Germans take Kaliningrad, or I don't know, the
Austria
China
takes Südtirol again.
Yeah, exactly. Let everyone take what was theirs.
All the world's gonna be constantly at war.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, what do we want to go back to? Oh, it's actually wasn't Eurasia. It was like how was this like huge continent was called?
Pangea.
Yeah. Like it was actually Pangea. Let's bring back Pangea. Like, what kind of mentality?
Let's bring the world together. It's stupid. Plus, I don't understand this greed to also from Putin's side. That they don't understand they're gonna be dead and they're not gonna enjoy the fact that maybe people gonna make statues of them. Even if people make statues of Putin, he's gonna be dead. It's not gonna think in his grave, "Oh, everyone loves me now. I did good things." No, just enjoy your life as long as you're alive, and then you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Even if you reach your goals, or which I doubt that are only his goal. I think that it's like a bigger plan that all these people who come in the government, they just do their part and then they leave.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Absolutely. I mean, he already stole so much money. Like if he's looking for money and fame, he is famous. He already has money. How much more does he want? I don't know. I also don't get the personal motivations.
But is he like personally rich?
Very much.
He's corrupted in a sense that he takes money from, like this thing, taking money from oligarchs that want to build and want to open companies.
Yeah. He's stealing from the governmental money. I mean, obviously it does not all belong to him, like declared and taxed are only his like presidential money. And everything else belongs to his wife, his girlfriend, his daughters, some friends. It's like this whole system. Navalny does this research very well. It's like,
what's with him? They just did a documentary about him, which by the way was in won in BAFTA.
Mm-hmm.
after.
Yes. Yes,
He's still
it's
in
great.
prison.
He's still in prison, in a room smaller than, well, the size of your couch,
Wow.
a bit more, of course. Yeah, he's still there. His team is still fighting for him, and his team is still publishing the research they make on Putin's friends and the whole system. Like there was one big one on Valery Gergiev, this director, the classical music director. He's the director of Mariinsky
The
Theater.
conductor, you
The
mean?
conductor,
Yeah.
yes. He is the director of Mariinsky, and he's the main conductor, and he's a good friend of his, and he owns a lot of stuff. And the idea, so far I understand it, is that a lot of things owned by his friends are actually belonging to Putin, but signed off to his friends. But yeah, so everybody's rich and richer and everything.
What's the situation with Navalny? I mean, apart from being that small cell, is he still going to trials, or what is he being accused for exactly?
He was being accused. What was he being accused this time for?
Exposing?
No, he was accused for fraud, I think,
For fraud?
or something like that. I'm
It
probably
might be.
mistaking now, because it's a fabricated thing.
Yeah.
There was a fabricated case on his brother, the Yves Rocher case, because when they were in power, when they were like the Kirov list, there was like this in Kirov when Navalny was at the government with Nemtsov in Kirov region. They supposedly stole a lot of money on selling the forest, selling like the wood, and it's all fabricated. So he's sitting for that. I think something like in the fraud direction, but I'm not sure. It's all fabricated, so it all doesn't matter. And the trial is still going. He's being punished. His lawyers are not allowed to see him, to check on his health or anything. They talk through the wall.
No one checks on him.
No one checks on him. And he is like, they have trials, but all the trials are being postponed and postponed, or postponed. So they're not deciding that he's guilty. They're kind of postponing it all the time. So I guess they're just hoping that he's gonna die then.
Yeah, I was just going to say that they're probably attempting to poison him again or something.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's looking. They're not gonna do that, but if he just dies of heart attack or something, then...
Well, if he stays in the cell, even if they poison him, they're gonna say that he died from an heart attack.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make the doctor say that he had an heart attack. So
Yeah. But if they, I don't know. I think it's like this very, very developed, developed story of torture somehow. I don't know. Very
you
brilliant.
think that if he dies in prison, there will be a revolt?
I hope so. I hope, but I don't think so. No, because he was the only leader of the opposition. He's the only face of the opposition. So without him, there is no, united opposition. So there is nobody they can do it for. There was Nemtsov. Nemtsov was killed next to Kremlin. Do you know who Nemtsov is?
No.
He was like this big politician. He was together with Navalny in the Kirov situation. He was a good friend of Putin because he was in the government. And then he changed his mind and realized that Putin is shit, and he became the opposition.
It's just really like this, because I see a lot of people that turn from on the other side and make people believe that they just realize that their leader is shit. But there's also this theory that maybe they didn't get what they wanted when they came to power, so they are now trying to fight the other guy to gain power and just be like him.
Absolutely. I mean, they're all fighting for power. So it's also a big question. Do we want Navalny as a president? I mean, everything's better than Putin, but Navalny is also not very reliable.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know what's cooking there, but Nemtsov was a very bright star of opposition. He was very eloquent, very well spoken, very good ideas, and he was there was like the biggest demo on Bolotnaya Square in Moscow with thousands and thousands of people who came. He was leading it, of course, and then later he was shot next to Kremlin in that way that
like with a sniper or what?
No, just some person shot him, and like the cameras that were there at the moment, either like a big van came next to the camera and blocked the view, or the camera was closed. Like all the cameras that were supposed to show it didn't for some reason. So it was like really staged. It was like it's like this bridge that goes to the Kremlin palace, right 5 minutes away from there, and they killed him in the middle of the day. And there was a big revolt after that, but nothing more.
I just see that you have a tattoo in your hand. What's that? Like the devil's fork?
Yeah, that's I love how
that's it?
I love the interpretations every time. It's also
But what is it really?
It's nothing. I hope
testing the ink.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I hope the listeners gonna think that I have like this cool huge tattoo. But no, we were testing the ink with a friend of mine, and we started with 1 dot, then 3 dots, then we did like the 3 dots and the this line.
And then it didn't make sense at all, and you had to.
Yeah, then it looked like a dig. I thought,
yes,
do I want to have a
like
dig in my
dig peeing actually?
Yeah, exactly. And then like this was added.
So she has a. Let's say by her right wrist, she has like a fork, like a devil's fork, like these big ones, but only with 2 points, but it's dotted with dots, not like lines, not with lines, which
it's like this fork that you use for the turkey, like
for the grill.
Yeah,
but it's like 3 centimeters. 2 centimeters and something like this.
Yeah, so it's
You have other tattoos?
No.
You don't like them anymore? After experimenting in your wrist, I'm not doing this anymore.
No, I actually would want some more, but I just don't know which one. I think my taste changed so much that I would make one and then I'm gonna hate it the next year. This one I still like, so it's okay.
Because it has a story.
Because it has a story, and everybody comes up with so many cool different interpretations.
What else did you hear about it?
My favorite so far was that it's like a star constellation, like my star sign star constellation.
Oh.
Then people think it's like a Triton fork also, like a Poseidon fork. Then some people think that this is some kind of hanging device, like for hanging people. Like if you add the thing here and thing here, it's gonna be like for like some postament for hanging people. Or like I also like the tele company kind of tower.
Okay. That's very ambitious.
I guess.
But it also looks like these things. I remember back in my country when they were people who had clothes stores.
Yeah.
And they had these big sticks to hold to take the clothes that were hanging very high by the ceiling.
Oh my God, the cultural connection unlocked.
Soviet Union influence.
Yes. Look in those markets also.
Yes, exactly. So, can I see the jacket over there? And they would always be bored of that because they don't want to do it because they know that you're not buying it.
Yes.
And this motherfucker is making me now bring this thing down, and he's not gonna even buy
They're
it.
like,
yes.
Oh.
Yes. And then say, what about the other one next week? Would you buy it or no?
Exactly. Did you also stand on like this piece of carton outside? No.
What do you mean?
Like a carton paper when you were trying the clothes on in the market that was like open air market. there was no like changing room or
Oh, like a
anything, so you had
changing
to like
room movie?
stand on like this carton piece of paper, just like trying not to step on the cold
No, we
floor.
had something different, especially in the city where I grew up, because it's a small city, and there were no changing rooms at all. And people, I mean, when you were going to change pants, to try on pants, you just take them home, and then the seller would say, "All right, just take 2 3 pairs and try them home, whichever you like, and come back tomorrow. Which one
Really?
you're gonna keep, and give me also the money tomorrow." Yeah.
Wow, it's such a level of trust.
Yes, but it's basically stores by the neighborhood that they
Yeah.
know me, they know the parents and stuff. I mean, now I don't think they do it anymore because the populations got bigger and
Yeah.
people had changed and people have left the country. So, but earlier, by the beginning of 2000, until the beginning of 2000, this was pretty common because no one was thinking of leaving the country. Now they think that you might take those use €5 used pants and leave the country with them and never give him the money. So this literally like this. They really think that you're gonna leave the country next day, so you don't get that level of trust anymore.
Oh God. So it's like people really fleeing the country.
Oh
So
yeah, massively. And when you're talking about Putin, it resembled 100% like our. I mean, I don't call it my leader anymore, but Albania's
yeah.
leader. So it's and now I see where they are what they are trying to look like.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, please no.
Well, the only thing is that don't have that much power as Russia does in sense of capital and money,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we are a small country. Most Balkan countries are small,
Yeah.
but it's all Balkans are fucked up the same way. All
Yeah.
leaders are the same.
Yeah.
And I think there's a huge, and I think the Russian influence is still there all over Balkan.
Do you think a lot of people in Albania are supporting the war and the Putin and
No one supports the war. At
no one
least
supports?
people, no. But I think that it finds less support also from the Kosovo fact, the Kosovo Serbian, because we can't support this war, because then it means that we will also support the fact that they believe that Kosovo is part of Serbia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is a little bit funny because Ukraine never, I mean, earlier in the day didn't recognize Kosovo as a country, and it was also against NATO intervening to save Kosovo from Serbian bombardments.
Yeah.
So there are so many factors. Also, no matter the stupid things that happen in my country, people are very sentimental. So we are against the war as a principle. And we've been so through many wars, and the latest one was not long ago, like 25 years ago. It was like a small civil war. But I also believe that people have short memory. It's like the same thing with the pandemic. People suddenly forgot that. Now I see people surprised that during this January, February season, a lot of people get the flu, and they are surprised. But as long as I have memory, I always remember that during this period, January, February, people would get the flu, and my classmate would miss class, and there were at least 5 people from class who would miss it for 1 week until they'd get better.
Yeah.
But no one remembered this anymore because of the pandemic, and
Yeah.
now it's either COVID or it's nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's so true.
It's true, and people forget a lot of things, and people forget that there have always been wars at least every 20 years. There's a massive war.
Yeah.
There was the First World War, then Second World War, then Cold War, then Vietnam War, then it came the 90s, and the Balkan War started with Kosovo and Bosnia Herzegovina and Serbia, and then now 20 years later we have this war. So it's on average every 20 years there's a war. The only thing that changes, according to me, is that now we have social media and internet, and this allows it to spread the news very quickly and to manipulate the public opinion very, very quickly and much more easier. So that's the only thing that changed. The history doesn't change. It's like there's a funny movie, I mean, very, very philosophically interesting movie. It's called Sunset Limited with Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
It's like a theater piece.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a theater piece. It all happens in one apartment. There are only these 2 people talking to each other, and one has just saved the life of the other, not letting him kill himself in front of a train.
Okay.
And the people who
helped
Samuel L. Jackson didn't let Tommy Lee Jones
Yeah.
throw himself in front of a coming train.
Okay.
And turns out Tommy Lee Jones is a guy who had read on average 100 or 200 books per year or something. So it's a very well-read person.
Okay.
And finds no meaning in life anymore. So that's why he was trying to kill himself.
Oh.
And he says the line that I love, and he says, I don't understand why people are so surprised from the wars that are coming, because if you look at history, there's always been wars, literally always.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new anymore, and that's how the world is. War is part of life in our world, and maybe also in other worlds. I don't know.
Yeah, but I bet people just hope that it's not gonna be like that.
Exactly, they hope. And I was looking at the Joan Baez documentary, when how she started and everything, and this was during the Vietnam War, when many singers actually got famous during that period, because now I think it was very easy to get famous.
It's a bad war with the best soundtrack.
Yes, exactly. And when I heard the speeches, when I heard the songs, when I heard their interviews, they were saying the exact same things that people are saying now, like 70 years later.
Yeah.
It's the same thing repeating.
Yeah.
It's literally only the media, the forms of media that are changing. Now we have internet, then they had the Washington Square to do those big gatherings.
But that's so funny because I don't know, maybe I'm in a complete bubble or anything, but neither in Russia nor here in Vienna have I met a person who is for war, for any war.
No one
just
is for war.
Like I mean, maybe like if you talk to, like, I don't know, the army people, the military people who are, I don't know, always in the army, then maybe they would be some
maybe
of them
job
like
sense, because if there's no war, they have no jobs.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, I don't think anybody supports killing other people and I don't know, destroying the cities and everything. So it's like,
who's doing the war when everyone is against it? Exactly.
It's like, I mean, this is a big paradox. It's just like nobody wants it. Then the government say they do. It's always there, and people always go there, and people always participate in it. And it's really crazy. I think it's also a big question to toxic masculinity, because it's I know through some friends people who like went to the war in Ukraine only for the reason that, well, what can I do? What can I do? You know, like Pasha and Slavik, they're going to war, and what am I? Not a man?
Trend.
Like not a man? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, like a trend. Like if he's not gonna go, then he's gonna be Peter or faggot. Wow. Because he is like not a man, not a real man. Which is,
we go so back in time with this.
Yes, it's right
like when we thought we were doing well with feminism and everything and gender equality.
No, it's like, I mean, Russia, you can't require Russia to be so progressed, because we still have like this toxic masculinity idea. But it's just like how much suffering comes from like the idea that, you know, men play their man games, like killing other men and everything.
Like they can literally die in the world, but they're going there only because Pasha and Slavik is going.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I'm a man, I can do that. I'm a man. If like, what the fucking actual fuck, you know, how many problems would have been solved maybe if men were allowed to be actually weak.
Yeah.
Weak with a of course not really weak, but like more sensitive and not like, I don't know, gym bros all the time. I don't get it. It's just it's toxic. It's really crazy.
Do you think it's coming to an end soon, this war?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I thought it would be over in like 3 months.
That's what everybody thought. And that's what everybody thought also when the pandemic started. It started in February, March, and everyone thought that by May it will be over. And suddenly 2 years later.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's crazy for Ukraine. Oh my God. But like so many things are happening. It's like, I mean, maybe it's because of the social media and we see how everything is spreading easily. Maybe it's because it's my age when I finally get to see what's going on, not as a child and not as a history lesson, but like Iran, Ukraine, Turkey, Syria, with all those earthquakes.
Yeah.
It's like
Too many things at the same time.
so many things in the same time. I'm probably not mentioning a lot of the things that are happening. It's just the ones that caught my attention the most.
It is definitely a huge social media influencing these feelings, because back in the day you just read a newspaper article once a day, the article is over, then you don't see the thing anymore for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
It's not with you all the time.
Yeah.
But now it is, thanks to our mobile phones and thanks to the notifications and thanks to our friends who constantly publish news on Instagram no matter the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely influencing everyone's life.
But do you think the social media is more of a good influence or a bad influence?
I think it's definitely a bad influence. I'm not on social media at all.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're promoting your own business, I don't think everyone should. I don't think they need it. If they enjoy it, it's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
But on a need sense, I don't think it's needed that much.
But for like the wars, do you think it's a good influence for like the big news, the wars, the earthquakes?
I don't know. I probably should read more about this before I speak. But the thing is, I would like to know how much did the social media influence really help improving the situation in Ukraine? Because as you said, you expected it to be 3 months, like most people did, but we are here now exactly 1 year later. And we don't know when it's going to end. And then how did social media help? I don't know that, or if it helped.
I don't know, maybe like after the war we can do the stats on that. I would be very interested to see, but I think the good thing of the social media is that the countries are not anymore left to die alone. You know, like
but they're still left to die.
They are left to die, of course, but like the attention and the money that comes from many other countries, because they have just seen it on Instagram, is, I think, enormous. I mean, it could be more, of course, but so many people are donating to Turkey, to Syria, for helping in the excavations of the earthquake. So many people are helping the funds in Ukraine, and it's just it's spreading. Even like the social media helped, for example, like us in the beginning to find this family and them to find us, so that they can from the main train station come to our house, so that they know that there is in this big Vienna one room that is ready for them. You know, so it's, I guess it's
it did solve
solve some problems. Of course, it caused more, maybe, but it helped, I think, because otherwise what could have people done? It's actually a big question to me, like what they did before.
It was funny actually, because I was thinking the other day, and I always like to go back to pandemics because I find it I think that's the strangest thing that happened in our generation's life, the pandemic.
Really?
What else? What is the biggest thing that happened in our life as a generation? I mean, that's pandemic. We didn't witness any big war that touched everybody as a generation.
Yeah, maybe.
So we didn't witness any big war before, so we weren't. It wasn't us in war.
Yeah.
Before that, apart from the fact that there's a war near us right now, but we're not there. So I was thinking, imagine how funny and tragic would be, like the Spanish flu, how they call it, the other pandemic before this.
Yeah.
People would be in a ship for a month, traveling, let's say, from Spain to the US or to Latin America. And by the time they arrive in the US and the police says, hey, no, you can't come in. Why? Because there's a pandemic. Oh, shit, we didn't know that. Yeah, it happened while you were on board. Now you have to go back. I have to go back. I haven't eaten in a month because I was in this creepy shit. You imagine that?
That's so true.
You go to border and you have no idea. Well, you need a test. You need a COVID test. Where should I get it? You should get it back in your country.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, I'm going back to my ship.
Oh, that's so crazy. Maybe the ship is the safest thing then. But I guess you can be that person who enjoys like this irony of repeating the plague, the Spanish flu,
Yeah.
the COVID. Yes.
So yes, indeed, some things got easier, but I also think that they do help spread as they help spread the good news. They also help spread the bad news
Yeah, fake
and the
news.
panic.
Hmm.
And I know the pandemic was hard on many people and many lives, but I think that the media did a good job on their side to
Hmm.
spread a lot of
Yeah,
panic even when it wasn't necessary. And
yeah,
these videos of massive graves, they
yeah.
were horrible. Like what are you trying to prove? Like many of them were even fake.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I guess, just to, I mean, Ukraine, also the other thing you can give credit to them, they're winning the informational war. They're
Mm.
winning it by mass because they are good at this and they are having a good position and they're having a good thought out idea of how they're presenting themselves. Maybe it's happening natural, maybe it's the work of marketers, but
Mm.
they are really winning it because they show the unification of nation. They show
Yeah.
the stories of people. This is like such a great job. I know many Ukrainians. They were of different opinions in politics, of with in different relationships with me as Russian and everything, but once the war has started, they all united as one. It's
Mm.
just one voice, and it's really great. And in social media, they're also winning, like also with all those videos of like Bucha and everything.
What's a pucha?
Bucha is like this is either like a district or like a village, like a city in Ukraine, where there was a mass grave, mass
Oh,
killing of people, and it was really shocking. And I think it is important that people see that shock because
true.
then they will then they will sponsor more money, then they will be aware of the situation, they will be touched
Mm.
in heart more,
Well,
I
yeah, at
guess.
the end, it's all about the money anyway.
Yeah.
Money that won't bring back those who died already.
No. But at least it can make the life of those who are still
Yes,
alive.
and help that less people will die.
Yeah. Crazy.
What are you are still you have exams this week or you
No.
what's the academic situation?
I am on my semester break,
Mm.
and soon my new semester starts, and I'm really looking forward to
Next week?
it. Yes.
Also mine. How do you feel about it? How many courses do you take?
I did take this time
7?
6. Yes.
Isn't that a lot?
That is a lot, but I'm trying to. Talking about being a migrant, I don't have a luxury of studying long because I
Mm.
pay every semester
Me
740
too, yeah.
euros. Yes, so we can't afford
Mm.
to take as long as the European
Yeah.
students who pay 20 or something. And I didn't recognize that in the beginning, and I was just like looking after my peers who are like from Germany or like from Austria,
Yeah,
who are
they'll
like
take it
chilled
slow.
and like take
One
it
class
slow.
per semester.
Yeah, like one class per semester. I was also like, oh, 2 classes, like whoa, phew, that's a lot.
So
And
now
then I
you're catching
realized
up.
exactly, I'm trying to catch up.
Do you have a fixed job at the
Mm,
moment?
no, not at the moment, but I think I'm gonna have it in March.
Oh, but that's very ambitious. 7 courses and a fixed job.
Yeah, I mean, only part time, of course.
Yeah, part time.
Yeah.
Still seems a lot to me. I mean I'm taking 5 courses this semester. I'm working part
That's
time.
also a lot.
Yeah, and I'm worried I'm gonna make it with 5.
You never know, but maybe it also depends on the course.
You have
Maybe.
more experience than me because I haven't been to this situation yet, and maybe you can tell me about it.
It's like I mean, I think it depends. Like every curriculum is super different, and maybe I'm taking the courses that are easier than yours, and that's why
Okay.
I'm not gonna spend so much time on them than you gonna. You never know.
Do we study in the same building?
Nope.
Okay, where's your building?
Mine is mostly in the old campus at the Spitalgasse.
Ah, okay, by the big, huge one that looks like a whole another city.
Yes, exactly. That's the one.
They don't allow dogs inside there, unfortunately.
They don't?
No, as
Really?
the Hundeverbot sign.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a
Shit.
nice park. That'd be nice.
Really? I
Yeah,
think I saw a couple.
you did?
I think.
Oh, next
But
time.
but maybe small ones, like with a golden
Oh,
retriever. I don't think you can like hide and say,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
not a dog.
It's not a dog. I can argue that.
That's a rat.
Yeah.
You know how big rats are in Vienna? Big. I don't
True,
think it's
big,
gonna
big,
work out.
big as the cellars where they store family members.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I never heard about the story
Like
until
in
I
the
got
floated
here. I
store?
didn't know it was a famous thing in
Yeah,
Austria.
yes.
Storing
Like
your
this,
family members in the cellar.
like this guy with the. Oh yes. Oh yeah, that's the first thing you need to know about Austria,
Yeah.
I think.
But there are some stories like it's not just this guy. This guy is the most exaggerated case.
Yeah.
He kept his daughter for 18 years.
Was it his daughter or
He-
was it some random girl?
As far as I know, it was his daughter. And he had more than 4 kids with her. Yes,
Sick.
it's shocking. But then there
That's
was another
sick.
guy who kept, again, his daughter for 7 years.
Did he have children with her? Please say no.
I don't know this. It's in any case, it's horrible.
I think Austrians like maybe just like sellers.
I don't know. There was another situation where when a lady was keeping dead people down, so she had a small ice cream factory,
Yeah.
but not like a big factory. Like
Yeah.
she would do her own ice cream that would
Yeah.
sell. Let's
Yeah.
say. And above on the ground floor there was the shop,
Yeah.
and below she would chop off people and store them. That's how
Is
I
it
heard
like a
the
real
story.
story, not
Yes.
like a fucking
And
movie?
no one would hear people yelling because the machines would do so much. The noise was so big, no one would hear them. And I think at some point she gave up the information herself.
Fuck,
And
it's
this is like extreme. I've never heard more sick thing.
this
like
is
this.
sick. This is sick. We should film a movie about
They
that.
were the ex-boyfriends of something. So
That's sick. I mean, I also may not like my ex-boyfriends, but not
yeah,
so
you
much.
don't chop him off.
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't
ice
chop.
cream
I
machine.
don't chop them off. Like,
Yeah.
but it was also like a story in Floridsdorf. I know that for sure. That there was in the house, like in the common big house with a
Mhm.
lot of people living in it. There was a cellar, and there were fridges apparently running.
Mhm.
Nobody really knew, and everything. And at some point there was electricity blackout, and the fridges were turned off, of course. And then people started smelling something really bad, and it was like parts of people stored in the
Wow.
fucking cellar by some guy who lived in that house, like just in the common
Fucking shocking.
house. Yeah, pretty crazy. Why do they like cellars so much?
Hmm?
Why do Austrians like cellars so much?
Why do they like to store human beings? I don't know, in fridges, in cellars, in their house, in their shops.
That's how stereotypes are born. Imagine next time, or like we tell our children that, you know, Austrians.
As
they
boogeyman, we
like-
tell
yeah,
Austrian stories like boogeyman.
exactly. Like, and then we're gonna store your body like Austrians do in the cellar.
And the kid's gonna be like, all this if I don't do the math
Mhm.
homework? Yes.
Yes.
You're gonna end up like an Austrian's victim.
That's
It's crazy.
bad. And then they're gonna have a Austrian phobia.
Austrian phobia, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, let's see how we're gonna feel until we get those passports.
Yeah. Uba.
It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be nice. Maybe by that time we're gonna live in Cuba and just gonna tell those stories.
Yeah, but I think that now we go back to your point that those stories are less favorable to happen anymore thanks to social media
Mm-hmm.
and internet, because maybe back then in the day when those people were storing those poor victims in the cellar, maybe someone heard of it,
Mm-hmm.
and he will maximum say it to another neighbor or something,
Mhm.
and he's not going to go to the police because he's
Mhm.
afraid. But now with social media, it's so much easier to be anonymous. You just send
Mhm.
an email with a fake address or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it spreads awareness for sure. Now you know that you cannot meet a person, I don't know, outside the city somewhere on like some parking
Yeah.
lot, and probably it's gonna be risky.
Yeah,
Now you know
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't put a man in your car trunk and just drive around the city with him.
Probably not. I mean, unless you're on the You series from Netflix.
Which one?
Like You, like this,
Okay.
where the guy just like kills people and drives around.
Imagine these people, these killers, or storage people. I don't know how to call them.
Storage people.
Because he basically didn't kill his girl. He just store her for there and make kids with her. But anyway, imagine them looking at technology nowadays and Instagram and being nostalgic and talking to each other. Our times were good old times. We would store people and no one would find out. Now these fucking teenagers with internet.
Yeah.
Everyone is nostalgic in their own.
Yeah.
Serial killers.
They
everyone.
have their own nostalgia.
Yes.
Oh God, crazy.
And even serial killers might be like, it was so much easier back in the day because there weren't many of us. Now there's fucking wars everywhere and everyone is taking our jobs.
Yeah. Those migrants.
Yeah, those migrants are taking our jobs and killing people that we are supposed to kill. I'm a fucking citizen of this country. I'm fucking supposed to kill people of this country.
It was so beautiful back then. People
it could be a nice
killing
stand-up comedy, actually.
Yeah. Let's you write it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What do you say? We wrap it up?
Yes. Thank you very much. It was so nice to talk to you.
Thank you for coming by.
Yeah.
All right.
It was really good.
And you're basically somehow my boss. I never thought of that.
Yes, I am your boss. I'm big boss.
Yes, because I write for Bohema, just to explain this.
Yeah, bohema-wien.com.
Yes, bohema-wien.com. Check it out. But I will also put the link in the description.
Yeah, follow me also, Private Timo on Instagram. Very good Instagram. I'm leading.
Very good Instagram.
Very good Instagram. Very active.
Very effective.
Very effective. You just have to follow me so people think I have friends. Haha.
All right.